Liv'n the Dream in May 2025, and I'm back at Tom at Star's place near Knoxville in Tennessee. It's a Thursday afternoon now. The sun has finally come out, and it's time for Tom, Brandon and I to continue behaving badly here in Tennessee. Hi, I'm Graham, and this is my wife Fiona, and we have always had a work hard, play hard philosophy. From London to New York, and of course the Caribbean, we live our dream through travel. And of course, the odd cocktail. And here on YouTube, we create our memories while living our dream. So come and join us as we share our memories with you. Guys, I get to sit in the front with Tom. And Tom is not very excited.
I am very excited.
Thursday was a wrap-up day for us, and that meant that we spent the morning reviewing all of the outputs and actions we had from the meetings that we held here in Kingston through to Nashville each morning. But right now, Tom and I are off to his daughter Rachel's because Fiona and I were really keen to see how she got on with the house that she bought just around the time we last visited Kingston 3 years earlier. It was going to take us about 15 to 20 minutes to get to Rachel's, and Tom and I were on our way there now. This, guys, is Kingston, Tennessee, which is, of course, the county seat of Rowan County in Tennessee. And according to Wikipedia, at the last US Census, the population was just under 6,000. While Tennessee is a landlocked state, what I will say, guys, is there's an awful lot of water here in the state. To the right of us is Watt Bar, which can basically be described as a finger off the enormous Tennessee River.
Ooh, happiness requires work every day. And as you can see, guys, there are some beautiful properties that have been built on the lakeside. And if you're wondering where Brandon is, guys, well, he's back at Tom's house preparing ribs for lunch tomorrow. And when Tom and I finally got to Rachel's after taking the scenic route, Rachel and her boyfriend were trimming trees with a chainsaw. Of course, Tom couldn't help himself. He had to have a play himself.
Look at that.
Right, 3 years ago, Fiona and I went down on this side by side with this reprobate. But we're going to do it again this year. But Brandon has brought the drone.
We brought Brandon for adult supervision. That was a mistake.
After 3 hours of checking the local Rowan County drone regulations, we deemed, screw it, we're flying the drone anyway. You may remember Tom and this side-by-side from a video that Fiona and I made just over 3 years ago at this very same house in eastern Tennessee.
Four-wheel drive.
So the plan was for Tom and I to take the ATV, or should I call it the side-by-side, down through the forest, and Brandon was going to try and follow us in the drone as best he could.
I now plan to head down into the trees through a fairly new trail that Tom had cut recently after a winter storm. The question, of course, was how far could Brandon follow us with the drone? And I have to admit, I was pretty impressed that Brandon managed to get the drone to follow us this far into the forest with all of those trees blocking the signal and causing the drone to want to return home. And at the bottom of the hill, Tom had one more tree to cut to clear the way for his trail from the house down to the stream. And after all of that effort, the tree finally gave way. Our plan now was to return to the side-by-side and get back up the hill. By the time we made it to the top of the hill, Brandon had just finished taking some awesome drone footage of Tom and Star's place here in the outskirts of Kingston, eastern Tennessee. With the drone footage for today done, it was Brandon's turn to get a ride in the side-by-side to the bottom of the hill. All I had to do is sit up here and wait until they returned. sure you will agree with me from watching this footage that both Tom and Star own a beautiful part of eastern Tennessee. I promise more drone footage tomorrow, when Brandon sends a drone up at night to capture an impromptu fireworks display. And with that, Thursday is a wrap. Alright guys, it is Friday morning. We've decided to take the day off today. We're just hanging around Tom and Star's house. Brandon is going to be doing his famous to him, ribs for lunch, and Tom and Brandon are then going to go shooting, clay pigeon shooting, or skeet shooting as they call it here. I'm going to hang around. I've got a little bit of work that I need to do this afternoon. I'm going to hang around the house here and catch on with that, because I'm really not into guns, I'm afraid. But hey ho, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Starting to prepare to head back to the UK. Tomorrow afternoon I leave Knoxville for Chicago, London, and London back to Glasgow on Sunday. So this is really the last full day in Tennessee, and Brandon is therefore picking up his one-way rental today, because he'll be driving back to Nashville to catch a Southwest to Sacramento. Really not got a lot to show you today, but I'll bring you what I can as usual. As I made my way back to the house after recording Friday's intro, Tom was clearly under pressure from domestic management, because a few weeks earlier Tom and Star had taken delivery of a brand new front door, including insert, and due to the amount of work to install said new front door, this wasn't going to be a project that would start anytime soon. However, Tom was under significant pressure to get rid of the pallet that the new front door and insert was delivered on, but it was extremely heavy. And with Star now roped in to help, the pallet was now on its way down to the bottom of the garden for disposal. And in true men behaving badly, there's very little else I can say to Tom's display of amusement. And from my vantage point, I had absolutely no idea that Tom was bearing his backside. And to be completely honest with you guys, I was sort of glad of that. But even Star was having lots of fun today. However, completely unaware of Tom's display. As I explained in my introduction to Friday, this afternoon Tom and Brandon went off clay pigeon shooting, or skeet shooting as they call it in the States. And of course, with this being America, nobody walks anywhere. So a golf buggy of course had to be used to transport these two reprobates to wherever the skeet shooting competition was taking place, with the sound of shotguns going off in the background. Pull. Pull. I think the guys would have been a lot more comfortable if they'd been allowed to use an automatic assault rifle for skeet shooting rather than this shotgun. As the sun began to set over eastern Tennessee, it was time for Brandon to get the drone out again. And in Tennessee, when they're not shooting at things, they're blowing stuff up. And that means I'm going to finish episode 3 of Men Behaving Badly in Tennessee with a fireworks display. But first, I'm going to show you some great drone footage that Brandon took at sunset, before he put the drone back up to take images of the fireworks display from the air. But as I said, this will bring episode 3 and the last episode of Men Behaving Badly in Tennessee to a close. In the next episode, you can follow me as I make the long road home back to Scotland from here in eastern Tennessee. So you know what to do, guys. If you want to follow the last episode in this Tennessee 25 series, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon to be notified when the video is published. Thank you so much for watching.
There's the last one.